Ladies and gentlemen, the battle for Australia's next federal election is heating up, and the gloves are well and truly off. Opposition leader Peter Dutton has come out swinging, delivering a scathing assessment of Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, branding him the worst Prime Minister since 1931 and accusing him of being completely out of his depth. Now, this all comes as Labor announces a significant $8.5 billion investment in Medicare, promising that 9 out of 10 Australians will have their GP visits fully covered. Not to be outdone, the coalition has matched that pledge and then raised the stakes, adding an extra $500 million in their bid to win over voters. Healthcare is now firmly in the spotlight, and both major parties are going head-to-head to convince Australians they've got the best plan for the nation. During a media conference on Monday, Dutton doubled down on his criticism of the Albanese government. He made it crystal clear that despite a new poll showing the coalition ahead at 55-45, he still sees himself as the underdog, referencing the fact that a first-term opposition hasn't won an election since 1931. "This is the worst government since 1931, Dutton said. Anthony Albanese is the worst Prime Minister since 1931 and is completely out of his depth. I think we should be very honest about that, and I think the Australian public understands it, especially after the Voice referendum." That's right, Dutton didn't hold back when it came to the failed referendum on an Indigenous voice to Parliament. He pointed to the $450 million spent on the campaign, arguing that Labor was too distracted in the first half of its term to focus on the real economic issues affecting everyday Australians. According to Dutton, the result of this so-called distraction has been devastating. He laid the blame for rising inflation squarely at the government's feet, claiming they failed to take the necessary steps to rein it in. "Inflation has got away under this government," he stated, adding that this has led to higher interest rates for longer, putting more financial pressure on families, homeowners, and small businesses. And he didn't stop there. Dutton also turned his attention to Medicare, arguing that bulk billing rates have taken a hit under Albanese's leadership. "Bulk billing rates have dropped by 11% under this government," he said. "When I was health minister, bulk billing rates were sitting at 84%. Now, they are down to 77%. Everything this Prime Minister touches turns to disaster." However, despite the positive polling numbers, Dutton isn't getting ahead of himself. He acknowledged that polls fluctuate, saying, "Polling comes and goes, but the only one that truly matters is Election Day." And on that day, he believes Australians will have the opportunity to vote out a government that, in his words, has let the country down. One of the biggest concerns he raised was the prospect of Labor needing to rely on the Greens to form government. "The only way Albanese stays in power is if he cuts a deal with the Greens," Dutton warned. "And that would be a disaster for the economy, for small business, and for families." When asked whether the coalition is ready if an election is called this Sunday, Dutton deflected slightly, instead using the moment to call out the Prime Minister over the upcoming budget. He argued that Albanese appears to be dodging it, suggesting that if things were really as great as the government claims, they wouldn't be looking to delay it. "The Prime Minister should return to Parliament as scheduled," Dutton stated. "We need to pass legislation to guarantee Medicare funding and also to protect Tasmania's salmon industry." Dutton accused Albanese of neglecting the Tasmanian salmon industry in favour of chasing inner-city Green votes in Sydney and Melbourne. He also took a swipe at the PM's relationship with Western Australia, claiming the state has been abandoned by Labor for the same reason. And in his final remarks, Dutton didn't mince words. "This government has racked up an enormous amount of debt. They've hurt families instead of helping them. 27,000 small businesses have shut down, electricity prices have gone through the roof, and young Aussies are struggling to buy their first home. And yet, the Prime Minister doesn't want to face the music with a budget." With both sides digging in for what is shaping up to be a fierce election battle, there's no doubt that things are only going to get more heated from here. The question remains, will Australians stick with Labor, or is Dutton's coalition making a serious play for the Lodge? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next update. Cheers for tuning in, and I'll catch you in the next one.